contains multitudes, but it also contains me.
You've had great success with Dr. Sleep and Cheryl's Game, and then also your Netflix shows, your Netflix horror. So this is a little bit unexpected for people that you would do live with Chuck. Why did you want to tackle it?
I just fell so in love with the story. I mean, I read it in April 2020, right after the lockdown, like when the world was falling apart. And it just made my heart leap with optimism and joy and this bittersweet kind of reappreciation and gratitude for my life. We live in a very scary and cynical world, and it comforted me so much. It's such a scary time when I read it, and I wanted it to exist in the world for my kids, because I know at some point they might need this feeling too. So yeah, this was one that just hit me right in the heart, and I dreamed of trying to find a way to create the feeling that I had when I read it for someone else watching it in a theater.
So Mike, you're in the midst of a Carrie revamp. I think last year I read you're going to do The Dark Tower. What is the appeal for you of Mr. King's works?
Well, Stephen King is my favorite author, bar none and by a mile, and has been since I was a kid. When I was younger, I thought it was because it was so scary and it was so visceral and it was so entertaining. But as I got older, what I've realized is that Stephen King is my favorite author because he is at his heart an optimistic humanist who writes stories about empathy. And I realized that it is one of my favorite books, not because of the scary clown, but because of the friendship of these kids. That stories like Stand By Me or The Shawshank Redemption, which have changed me as a person as I encountered those, they come from the same kind of beating heart of this man who's known for terrifying people, but who is not writing about horror. He's always writing about love, even in the scariest stories. Pet Sematary is one of the most traumatic, terrifying things I've ever read. It's about parental love and grief. The Stand isn't about the virus or Randall Flagg in The Evil. It's about the courage and bravery of ordinary people standing up against all odds, with no witness and no hope for victory. And it's like, that's Stephen King to me. Stephen King is a profoundly optimistic person and writes beautiful stories that are wrapped and cloaked in darkness. And that to me is a fascinating landscape. So it's been a real joy to love his work my whole life and to get to try to translate it as many times as he's allowed me to. It's been very, very cool.
Do you have a dream book, Mike, that you'd like to tackle and try to adapt?
Well, it's The Dark Tower. I think that the Dark Tower for me is the magnum opus. It's the big one. It's the one that ties it all together. It's the journey of a life and existence. I think that's the number one. But there are so many of his stories that just live in my heart. A sentimental favorite that I've always looked at and kind of pined for is Hearts in Atlantis. And then the one that got away, I wrote an adaptation of Revival that I loved and I wish very much could have found its way to the screen. And maybe it'll come back around someday. But yeah, Dark Tower, 100% Dark Tower.
Is that going to be a movie or a series, or what's that going to be?
Oh, it's got to be a series, and then it has to also have movies. That's kind of the thing about it. It's the perfect way to do it, I think, is 5 seasons, 2 movies, but there's a lot of different ways it can go. It's such a intimidating undertaking, but yeah, we're setting it up now to begin as a series and kind of see where, hopefully, we can get that going at least.
And in this moment,